Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today I did a bit of a follow-up on a video I did 6 days back, and that was the Hand Picked Deals Mega Bundle for Unity. This is actually sort of a private bundle. I guess it was supposed to only be for the Asia Pacific market, but you can buy it in North America, so I covered it, didn't know that at the time, and since then I said I would cover some of the assets in it. Well, there is 20 plus hours left, and I figured I should probably get that done. So if you want to decide if you want to buy this bundle or not, hopefully this video will help you. Now, I already checked out one of the assets in this bundle. That was the SPUM. That is a 2D pixel unit maker for making 2D sprites. I did a video on that. I will link that down below. I'll also do a link to this bundle itself if you want to go ahead and pick it up. If you do, by the way, I get a small commission, and thank you very much for using my link. But what we're looking at today are all things from the, unfortunately, top tier. And these were the most requested aspects, and that is Puppet Face, Emerald AI 3, and Survival Engine, crafting, building, and farming. So we're going to look at those three things very quickly today to help you decide if this bundle is correct for you. By the way, if you do buy the higher tier, you get everything from the lower tier and so on and so forth. So realistically, if you find a single item in here, it generally pays for the entire rest of the bundle. Also, a quick public service announcement. I didn't do a follow-up on this, but I did some videos about the Unity FPS Games and Game Dev Asset Bundle running over on Humble. This actually got extended. So if you did not pick it up, I covered a number of the assets here: the Ultimate FPS, all of the character packs, Sensor Toolkit, Seascape City Management, Honor AI, Smart AI. I did videos on all of those things. So if you're interested, this one is also ending very soon. There's 2 days left in it, and I will have that link down below as well. So again, this has been a very good month for Unity developers. But what we're looking at today are three different assets: the Survival Engine, crafting, building, and farming asset. This one is basically a game template for creating, Terraria, Minecraft, that kind of style game in 3D. Puppet Face for animating character faces, and then finally Emerald AI, a generic artificial intelligence solution. So we're starting things off with Survival Engine, and the reason why I'm starting with this one is, frankly, it is one of those Unity projects that overwrites your project. So you're going to want to make sure you start with an empty project or something that you do not care about before you import this asset. And what you can think of Survival Engine as is basically a reference to how to create survival style games, like the type where you have to go around, gather things, and then craft tools and so on. So what I've been doing is I'm running around in the example level, picking things up, using the action key, and then once I am happy, I can hit the C button. So you see here down at the bottom, I've got some wood and rocks and so on. I can hit C, and it'll bring up my crafting. We've got a number of different items we could go ahead and craft. So we're going to go ahead and we will now make an axe. So you can craft an axe. Now added the axe to my inventory. I now equip it, and using left shift, I can now start attacking things. And we can cut down trees now, and then once the tree is cut, I do not want to turn off sticky keys. So there now I can pick up, make more wood. Spacebar, by the way, in the example, is your action key, and then continue on. This is basically the crux of these survival-style games. You're going to notice you have health, you have happiness, you've got food, you've got inventory and crafting systems, you've got weapon systems here, etc. So that is essentially what the Survival Engine is all about, and what you're getting here is a reference game. So what you're going to do is take the various different systems in place here, you either copy verbatim over to your own project or modify this project to fit your particular needs. This one actually has procedural world generation in there, so that you've got scripts in place, things like world generation, where you can add terrain, biomes, and so on, the world that we are populating. So if you want to create procedural worlds, there are examples for that. We also come back over to the player character. You're going to see here we've got things like character controllers, where you control things like your speed, your gravity interaction, combat stuff, how much damage you can take, how much attack damage you do. You've got inventory control scripts, and you can add a number of different items in, and so on and so forth. So you can see all the various different animations are hooked up and controlled via scripts. And then we've got a number of managers. One of my only kind of negative complaints with this script or with this particular asset is some of these names I think are unfortunately named. I don't think I would ever call a script the game or the render, but you do have all of the source code here if you do want to check it out. And it's, again, a number of systems are in place here to make you kind of have a nice reference implementation for if you want to create this style of game. They've implemented pretty much all of the stuff you would need to do. So you're mostly just modifying this system, adding in your new assets, etc., to create your own work, or you're using it as a reference for your own thing. One thing you'll notice is when you have it installed, you'll go to survival engine right here, and you've got tools in place for example, creating new objects. So if you want to create new things in the world, you basically have tools for doing so right there. So survival engine does extend, gives you a couple of tools available up here for placing prefabs, creating entities in the world, and so on. But for the most part, you're picking it up for the reference items. Also, you're going to notice everything in the world. Well, this is a generated world, not as good of an example. So let's go here to the scene. No, I'll go to one of the examples. So here, you're going to see you've got a couple of different ones to get you going, large map, small map, taps map, so on. And then you've got two that use procedural world generation. So let's go to here, a large map. So you can instantiate everything in the world. It does not have to be a procedurally driven world by any means whatsoever. So let's go to the large map example. You can see this one was placed by hand. And then what you're going to find is things in the environment, such as plants. All these various different things have been planted in the world. And you're going to see there are a number of scripts that control world entities as well. Things like making things that you can select, that you can destroy, that you can build with, plant control scripts, and so on. So really, that is the crux of Survival Engine. It is a reference-style game. It literally implements as a game, so it does overwrite whatever project you're working with when you import the asset. But you will find there is a ton here for creating procedural and non-procedural survival crafting-style games. All the things that you would need to implement, things like that cause person to die over time, or entities to die over time, or to age or grow or whatever, they are all in here. So that is the first one, the survival engine. Next up, we are looking at Puppet Face. Now this one is kind of a couple of things. It's the tools required to do facial animation inside of Blender, inside of Unity.
Would you like to buy some cookies?
So here is one example.
Would you like to buy some cookies?
So this is
Would you like to buy some cookies?
lip syncing. And what you've got with the lip syncing, we'll go ahead and take a look at this girl. There's a number of facial groups set up, or look at the face geometry controlling her. So this right here, you'll notice attached to it, so there's a skin mesh renderer. That is a requirement. But you'll find you can set up a number of blend shapes for the various different pronunciations. And you do have tools in place, by the way. So if I want to switch the, let's say the O, I think there was an O blend face. Yeah, the O blend face. We come in here, and basically you've got the tools, the scripts here, for modifying that face. So if you want to have, that's the character for that phonetic. And you come in here with these tools, you see here, we've created a new game object here. Once you're happy with it, you basically set it as a blend shape, and then the blend shape for the O vowel will be set to whatever you just warped with. So you got the tools here for modifying the face mesh. You got the tools for setting up the various different consonants and speaking phonemes in there. By the way, you can also go and discard, so we can get rid of that one completely. And you're going to notice we have a number of them defined, all these various different characters in place here. Well, you've also got tools for lip syncing. So the lip sync tools come up here. We'll go Window, and we take a look at Puppet Face. You're going to see here component, lip sync. And what the lip sync allows you to do is basically, why did that not open? One sec. Okay, I am apparently a little bit of an idiot, so I undid my damage. What I was doing there was adding a lip sync script to my character over and over again, which is definitely not what I want to do. So we see here we already have the lip sync script attached. What you can now do is go here, Window, Puppet Face, Lip Sync Editor, and here you can see the want to buy some cookies and the various different, so again, those blend shapes we set up, where they'll be called in the dialogue. So this is how you can lip sync to your actual sounds and dialogue. And interestingly,
would you like to buy some cookies?
So you can see the various different
Would you like to buy some cookies?
blend shapes that will be called at the various different points in the timeline of that particular thing. There's also another tool integration for lip sync converter, rhubarb. Is beyond the scope of what I'm going to cover in this video. So that is the one thing that this is about. So basically it's for setting up the blend shapes for the face and the tools needed for that, including Blendscape sculpting tools there. You've got lip syncing tools for then syncing the animation from those blend shapes to your the timeline of your dialogue. And then finally, we've got some other tools in here. And these could be a little bit hard for me to demonstrate because I am on video capture, which is going to be pulling this in. But here we got another example. Whoa, we're way too close. And what this will do is basically do performance capture. So if you look at Old Man over here, and again, drill into his geometry, so face geometry, you're going to see here it's actually got performance capture enabled with it. And now what this allows me to do, this guy right here in the background, this is a performance canvas, that is actually taking over my camera. And then what I can do is basically running this. I'm going to do... There we go. So you can see a bit of me in the background. At least you can see the top of my head. And there's my eyes. Hey! And you're seeing it is capturing it with me. Now, it's not being really happy because I'm also doing video capture through my own camera software. So you're not getting the experience for sure. That's why it's pretty slow, but that should not be the case for you. Again, it's a conflict of having video capture going and this capturing. So I have things fighting for resources of actual physical hardware. So like I said, hard to demonstrate that one because it's picking up my my mic and so on, which is actually in use. But you can see here, performance capture, you can set it up to use a camera and a microphone, and then you can start doing facial animation, blend shape blending, and so on. Again, you still got the blend shape manager going on here, but it's picking it up off your webcam. You can control also, should the eyes blink? How do you want them to blink? How often do you, so eye motion, see here, like blinking. Do I want to blink? Yes. How often should I blink? How fast should I blink? What bones control the eyelids? So on and so forth. Now, obviously, you're going to have some setup behind this one to get the bones to set up and control your face. That is going to be one of the major parts of work. But when you come in here, when it's running, you can basically just use capture and record your performance and then play that back in your game. So that is the final part of, what is this called? Face whatever. Oh, puppet face that I'm going to show there. So it's kind of a multi-aspect tool. Unfortunately, again, the video capture, I can't showcase that well because I am recording my screen at the same time, and there is just a bit of a resource conflict. And finally, we're going to look at the last asset, and that is Emerald AI. There's a ton of examples in here, kind of showcase what this one is all about. No, not demo source. Demo scenes. Let's go here to scenes. And here you can see, let's just start it off very simple. Artificial intelligence versus artificial intelligence. And we'll just go ahead and play the scene. And since it's AI versus AI, we can see how it turns out. So basically, this is a generic artificial intelligence controller, and those guys are just going to go at it. So let's go take a closer look. Oh, I don't have mouse control. Fight each other. So it's AI that they'll come together, they'll start attacking each other, and then, yeah. So that is an idea of what this is about, and it's got a number of different AI settings in there. You've got things for like walking between waypoints, so on. Another one here, you can, let's do companion AI as another example. So here is a different kind of generic setup of what it handles. In this scenario, I can summon in like a pet like you would see in an MMORPG. So here I am in the world. I can press I think it's the 1 key. Oh, I thought I could. Okay. Oh, I broke my input control. Bummer. Okay. So, yeah, I currently have it somewhat broken from my projects. But what you basically have is as you walk around, the golem will walk around with you. If you have an enemy that comes within range, it will go ahead and attack it. So I'll show you this one. So on the forest golem here, we've got summoned for us. You're going to notice here, you set the temperament of a character. So this guy, for example, is a companion, which means it follows me around based off of whoever you set its target as. It can, look at enemies, fight with them, so on. There's settings for like how this thing behaves, like how much does it care about its own life? Will it attack? Is it brave or so on? At what point does its health get down that it goes to flee? Will it wander around? You got to set up an animation controller for everything. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward to add these guys. I'll show you that in a second. You've got settings for the artificial intelligence, things like stats, how fast it regens, if at all, so on and so forth. Detection settings here. You got control a little bit over the UI. Again, you can set waypoints. If you've got artificial intelligence that's doing something like patrolling an environment, you can do so that way. And of course, you have to set up the various different animations for this character. But actually creating, adding Emerald AI to your entities, also we can do that, your character, first-person controller. There's also tools for that. So here, damage AI script's been attached, the AI player health script has been attached, update player script has been attached, and AI character controller scripts are there as well. So these control your actual characters, and then here you see there is the script being added for spawning in companions, which, by the way, if you change this out, you can just keep spawning and spawning and spawning and adding more companions. So that is kind of the way that this guy sets up. If you want to go ahead and create your own entity, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you just add an object into the world. So, for example, a cube. And then what you're going to need to do, add to the cube, is an animator, like so. And this guy is then ready to go. What you can do with once you've got Emerald AI set up, so go basically Emerald AI, and you can go to Set Up Manager, like so. And then really, it's just a matter of, okay, what object do we want to have the AI as? We pick that guy. What category is he? So let's say it was a player, for example. I'm not going to actually create this one. Layers to work in. So we'll put him in the player layer. Is he aggressive, cautious, passive, or a pet? Then you set up the confidence, the wander type, and so on. And then finally set the animator type, so it needs to have that animator attached to it. And then click Setup, and then that thing is ready to go in your world. And then you can add various different other controllers in there. So we do have a number of Emerald AI scripts that can be attached in. But it is a pretty generic AI system that's pretty easy to get up and going. It's pretty straightforward in how it works. There is documentation available here offline as well, so here you can check that out. PDF walks you through everything you need to do for setting up your characters in the world, how they work, how they pick, how to set up the animations on them, how to take damage, ranged weapons versus melee weapons, etc., etc. So if you just need to have generic artificial intelligence in your game, Emerald AI could be a good pick for you. And that is the extent of what we are covering today. So that is again, the whole thing is available in the Hand Picked Deals Mega Bundle, or perhaps you watch this sometime in the future, in which case I hate to inform you, but one of the assets you were looking at was previously on sale for a really good price. So that is it. That was Puppet Face for controlling facial animations, blend shapes, and so on. Survival Engine for basically a template for creating survival crafting, building, farming style games. And then finally, a quick look at Emerald AI, a generic artificial intelligence system for Unity style games. Everything from, again, artificial enemies, pets, companions, AI versus AI, etc. And they're all pretty straightforward in how to use them. Again, every single one of them is going to have some caveats on setting it up, but for the most part, pretty usable stuff. And again, every one of these is basically the same price as the entire bundle, so you're saving 94% off a bunch of other stuff. And there's some really nice things in this particular bundle, which you have less than a day left to pick up if you wish. So if you want to grab this one, do check it out with the link down below. And on the same subject, once again, there is also the FPS bundle. Now, this was extended once already, so it is not getting extended again. This is your final chance to pick this one up. And basically, for $25 US, you can get a ton of first-person themed assets in this particular bundle. And again, this one is ending in 2 days time from when I publish this video. So just a heads up for Unity developers. And for non-Unity developers, well, I think we're at the end of that for now, so you don't need to watch any more Unity coverage. But hopefully you guys found that useful. So again, that was Survival Engine, Puppet Face, and Emerald AI. And that is the extent of what I'm covering from that bundle. Hopefully you found that useful. If you were going to pick it up, you've got, again, a handful of hours left. Hopefully I got to you in time. Hopefully you did find that useful. Let me know what you think. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.